particular video should be shared across, all social media platforms. I think people should know the true face of this war. They are hiding the true casualty rate from the whole world. Now, this Ukrainian soldier is saying something that makes sense. Note, this is a Ukrainian soldier, not a Russian soldier. The truth about losses. Listen to what he said. A Ukrainian soldier says that real losses are still being hidden at the front. Formally, this is done to avoid spreading panic, but in reality, it leads to even worse consequences. People are led to believe that the enemy has been chopped up by hundreds and thousands, but no one thinks about how many Ukrainians have died. Okay, soldiers believe that society should know the truth, otherwise illusion replaces reality. I just love this part. They are telling you about Russian losses, but they don't tell you about the Ukrainian losses. Russia outproduced NATO completely in terms of weapons. The casualty rate on the battlefield at the peak, somewhere in 2023-2024, it was 1:10, right? If one Russian soldier is unalived, 10 Ukrainian soldiers will be unalived. The Russians outproduced NATO. So how come they were telling us that, the Ukrainians were winning, the Ukrainians were actually unaliving more Russian soldiers on the battlefield? But when you look at, this is common sense. The Russians have more firepower more than the Ukrainians. They produce more weapons more than them. They fire more weapons more than the Ukrainians. But they were telling us that the Ukrainians were actually winning. Really? To our regular viewers, don't forget to hit on the like button, and if you are new to the channel, subscribe. Now, one might say that, maybe this soldier is paid by the Russians to make, the statements that he's making, right? I've reported on this platform countless number of times of Ukraine desertion problem. Now, because the soldiers don't want to fight, I think that's the main reason why they are running. If you guys remember back in 2022, this Ukrainian desertion problem became a major problem. Now, it is back again, right? Just today, Slav posted this. Ukrainian prisoners of war reported on the escape of mobilized soldiers from the unit of the armed forces of Ukraine. So this desertion problem is still a major problem. People are running away from the front. If you guys remember back in 2022, yes, I think that was when this whole desertion problem started. But at the peak of the war in 2023, 2024, that was when the West was pumping in more money. So the Ukrainians had more money to bring in these Lebanese, these mercenaries to come in and fight. They brought in mercenaries across the world to come in and fight. Now, Ukraine economy is collapsing. They don't have money to bring in these soldiers or these mercenaries to fight again. Remember about 2 weeks ago, I told you guys that Ukrainian debt to GDP is now, around 100%, meaning whatever the Ukrainians make in their country, they use all to service their debt. Now, listen to this. Ukrainian budget deficit will amount to $19 billion. Deficit, meaning they have to fill in a gap. $19 billion. Without urgent Western funding, Ukraine risks facing budget deficit of $19 billion. The country usually receives about $38 billion per year, but now has requested $50 billion. The US is not ready to increase aid, and the EU wants to, but cannot. Helping losing side is unprofitable. It's a new day. This is not Joe Biden, this is Donald Trump. Donald Trump, said he operates on the basis of common sense. So he's not going to continue funding a losing side in this war. It doesn't make any sense. Why will he continue pumping money to Ukraine, knowing very well that Ukraine don't stand any chance to win this war? The European Union these guys, I don't know why they are fixated on defeating Russia. I think one of the main reasons why the European Union continue or why they are fixated on defeating Russia is not because of the Russians. These guys, want to send a message to the whole world that anybody who goes in the direction of the Russians, this is the fate that awaits you. So they are trying to use Russia as an scapegoat, right? They want to, destroy the Russians at all costs, then use Russia as an example for the whole world. That is how I see the whole thing. You know how we do it. A lot is really happening, so I'm going to give you guys most of the update in this video. Have you heard about European Union 19th package of sanctions against Russia? You've probably not heard about it. If you ask the whole world, it is likely that 99.9% of the whole world have not heard about European Union 19th package of sanctions against Russia, because nobody care about European Union sanctions against Russia again. That's a fact. Now, this is the most funniest sanction ever. The European Union has imposed sanctions but has not abandoned Russian oil. So the European Union is sanctioning other countries for buying oil from Russia, but they are still buying oil from Russia. They continue to give Russia billions of dollars. In fact, all the oil that the European Union are buying is coming from Russia. They claim that, we have reduced our dependence on Russian oil, but the fact is, they buy some of their oil from India. And India also buy their oil from Russia. They buy some from Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia also buy some of their oil from Russia. It's strange, right? Saudi Arabia is an OPEC country, right? They are the leader of OPEC. In fact, they produce a lot of oil. But are you aware that Saudi Arabia buy oil from Russia? So they buy this oil from Russia, turn around, sell it, and then sell it to the European Union. Then these guys will come out and start bragging that, we have reduced our dependence on Russian oil. But the fact is, they still buy direct from Russia. They still buy from countries that the Russians sell their oil to. Let's go into the details of the story. European Union Commissioner Valdez announced that 19th package of sanctions will not include restriction on purchase of Russian oil. Quite interesting. What this really means, Europe once again confirms that it cannot give up Russian energy source. Loud statement about complete phase out by 2027 remains fairy tale for grandchildren for now. So these guys claim that by 2027 they want to actually stop buying Russian oil completely. But the fact is, they are still buying. If this is not hypocrisy, then let me know what this is. So they are sanctioning India, they are sanctioning China. They continue to, attack India and China for buying Russian oil. But your 19th package of sanction, you are still buying Russian oil. So from first package of sanction to the 18th package of sanction, you never abandon buying Russian oil. Now you decide to roll out the 19th package of sanction, and still you refuse to abandon Russian oil. Quite interesting. So today I came across some pictures which I'm not really surprised, but I'm also sad at the same time. Those of you who follow this war from 2022, then you've probably heard about Marinka. Marinka is one of the war fronts that started way back from 2022. This is Marinka before the war started. Look at the city, a very beautiful city. War is horrible. In fact, this war is bigger than how they make it appear. And this is Marinka now in 2025. Now, one might ask, if the Russians are really liberating these cities, why are they destroying them? Well, it is part of the Russian military doctrine. These guys have a history of destroying their own cities. Check Stalingrad in Second World War. Stalingrad, we all know that Stalingrad is a Russian city. But in Second World War, the Russians destroyed Stalingrad completely beyond recognition. Stalingrad was completely destroyed by the Russians. They destroyed it, then rebuilt the city after Second World War. I'm not even going to go far. Look at Mariupol. Mariupol was also destroyed completely after the Russians liberated just in this war back in 2022. By 2023-2024, the Russians rebuilt Mariupol completely. So they'll rebuild Marinka. I mean, it's part of their military doctrine. They've done this over and over again. Another typical example is Grozny in the Chechen war. The Russians destroyed Grozny completely, then went back after the war ended and rebuilt Grozny in Chechnya, right? So the Russians have a history of destroying their own cities. After the war, they rebuilt it, right? So these are the guys, some of these guys or these guys in the West want to fight with. These guys, they don't care to destroy their own cities. These are the guys you want to fight with. Really? Okay. Interesting. Important announcement, guys. If you guys observe closely, you don't see me putting up this frontline videos in my videos again. Sometimes back in the days I used to show you guys videos from the Western media. Yes, if some of these videos comes with copyright strike, I don't know why, but that is the reality. When your channel is still small, you have to be careful, right? So I'm very, very cautious of adding some of these videos to my videos. I'm very, very cautious for now. I pray that one day when we become big, in fact, we can continue doing this. But for now, because we are still small, when you are small, in fact, it's very, very difficult on YouTube, especially when you are small. Anybody can attack you. Copyright strike is easy on this platform. So I'm being very, very cautious for now. As time goes on, one day I pray that we become big so that we don't we don't end up being attacked by other platforms like the way we are being attacked now. So I thank you guys for your support. In fact, I don't know how to thank you guys for your endless support. By the way, I'll continue to bring you guys this update. Shalom. See you guys in the next episode. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section.